Welcome to 3 Steps. This is the second part of a 3-part interview with Ben Caron. If you've missed the first one, follow the link right here. Now let me tell you who he is. Ben is a man with a vision for world peace, and the way he's going to get us all there is through his music and through his events and through community. And he's constantly building community. This man is in action all the time, moving towards this outcome. So, what we just talked about in the video. We're going to talk about how he uses music as a means to, as a practice, as a way to help him discover himself. And we also talk about his tips on how to overcome scarcity. Then we talk about the first step towards thriving as he sees it. And finally, like with all things Ben, it's all about love. So we talk about pulling back from the fear side of the pendulum and moving back to the love side. All right, I'll see you inside.
I think of your music as probably one of the biggest tools that you've used to shift and impact others around you, and I love the commitment to music that you have, because I'm gonna go off to the middle of the nowhere with a friend in a house for 3 months and write music, and we're not talking to anybody. Love you, see you guys.
Yeah. It's
like, what? But yeah,
that is one of the most powerful tools in it, and it's one that I think that music is, if it depends on the place that one creates music from. I create music to become more aware of myself and also more in tune to the divinity, the universe, whatever words you want to, God, whatever you want to call it. And so, I think if that is a tool that's accessible to people, and everybody has their things that they resonate towards or they don't. And I know that music is not necessarily everyone's method in which to find it, but it is a really powerful one for me, and it always reveals something about me to me, the process of making music. I think partly because if one becomes like an open channel, then that open channel gets filtered through the filter of like my being. And so there is an element of it that is divine, that is coming through, but there's also an element of it that is me, because it's coming through this vessel. Right. And so once the divine and then my identity project outside of me, then it gives me something to look at and be like, oh, that's where I am right now, and it's a lot easier to see it once it's outside of me. So that's one of the most beneficial parts of practicing music for me.
I perceive you as a person who thrives on the planet and thrives well. What does thriving mean to you?
Thriving means to me being able to exist in a state in which one is aware of what's going on with oneself. I think awareness is a really important first step, because it's very hard to thrive if you're not clear on what you need and what's going on with you. And I think that that's pretty common for a lot of people, is they spend a lot of their life not being in tune with their body, not being in tune with their heart and with their spirit, with their mind. The mind is a very, very difficult one to create awareness around, because it's constantly looping all the time and creating delusion and illusions, and I can get caught up in those illusions. And so I think awareness is a really big part of thriving, so that's the first step. So one can identify what they need, and then thriving is then taking the appropriate skillful actions to actually get the things that one needs, so that one is not in a constant state of scarcity or fear, or thriving to me is like fearless living, and part of that is being able to have your needs met, and not expecting other people to meet them for you. Not projecting, or it's that level of independence where I can take the appropriate skillful actions to get my needs met. And then from there, once that sort of fear mentality gets dissipated, then I've set myself up to be able to look out at the world and think like, okay, how do I move from this space Whereas the opposite of that to me is like being constantly in fear, not having one's needs met. You know, it's that sort of like scattered reptilian brain kind of behavior.
Scarcity mentality.
Scarcity mentality.
Yeah, totally. Well, okay, so if that is true, what was the... Because that's a trap, right? That scarcity mentality can be a huge trap. So what was it for you that kept you from falling into scarcity? Because like it's easy to blame others. It's easy to blame the situation. It's easy to blame blah, blah, or, oh, these are all the us. What was it? How did you get past that hurdle?
I don't think I am past it. And I think that in my studies of yoga and different ancient wisdom practices, I think that it is a constant practice through the human life. Enlightenment is sort of like the ultimate way of being past that, right? Of being beyond fear. And I think that for most beings, I spend most of my life in a sort like vacillating between love and fear, and hopefully finding a way where when I swing over to the fear side of the pendulum, I can become aware quicker and then correct quicker. Yeah. But I'm not there, and I'm giving myself some grace. Like, I'm 31 years old. I hope to live much, much older, and so I think that's the journey of life. Practice, I think, is really important. Being committed and dedicated to practicing, because if there's no methodology in which to correct these things, then really one is traveling through life hoping that the universe is going to provide opportunities for you to become aware and to become a better person. Right. And I think you can take a more conscious, active approach by actually creating like a discipline or creating a practice in your life. So I try every single day to like hold at least 10 to 15 minutes where I become aware of myself, to check in with myself. And then there are a lot of tools that one can use that, every single wisdom practice has their set of tools, from Christianity to Buddhism to Hinduism to Islam. That's the best part of all of those practices, is the tools that they give people to be more conscious and to live more lovingly. And so for me, it's a lot of yoga, breath work, meditation, dancing, singing. There's so many incredible tools that one can use in order to pull oneself back from the fear side of the pendulum over to the love side of the pendulum.
Thanks for watching. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and by all means, hit that bell for notifications. And join the group, Facebook group. Get involved in the conversation. Let's have a good discussion about what Ben's talked about in this video. All right, I'll see you on Friday.